So being a self-led person, meaning someone who works for themselves, living a life without any sort of guardrails, there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with a life like that. And it's surprising that I chose a life like that because I've spent most of my life really hating uncertainty. Uncertainty made me very anxious, made me very controlling. And when uncertainty came into my life, it was a reflex, I would jump right in there and try to, as quickly as possible, bring certainty to that uncertain situation. For example, this past week, I had a financial obligation that came into my life that I couldn't afford. Uncertainty. And what I used to do is, okay, there's a financial obligation I can't afford. I would try to force some sort of solution. Everything in life would stop until I figured out how to solve that financial problem. In other words, I would try to manufacture a solution. I would brainstorm, I would come up with 10 different ideas, I would choose the best idea, I would make shit happen, and I would get that problem solved. And I even prided myself on how resourceful Tony is. My God, look, there's a problem in life, I get stuff done, I figure it out. Sometimes I would figure out a solution, obviously. Other times I made problems worse. But I have learned that there's a much better way to figuring out problems in your life. So for example, this financial obligation that found its way into my life that I couldn't afford this past week, instead of jumping in there and trying to figure things out, what I did was, okay, I'm going to not figure out anything. I had ideas on how to figure it out, but I decided I'm gonna put my ideas to the side and I'm gonna let life show me what the solution should be. I'm not going to manufacture doors to walk through. I'm going to let life show me what doors to walk through in order to solve this financial problem that I had. And it's not easy, it's difficult, it's a lot of waiting, but what I have found that when you don't try to force a solution and you let life show you what the solution should be, when you stop controlling the future and stop controlling your life and let life show you what path to walk down, when you stop trying to figure things out and focus on just relaxing, then the solutions that will always come, if you allow time for them to come, they always do, I've learned that. They always do, and not only do they always come, the solutions that they provide will always be a hell of a lot better than anything you could have done on your own. So let me just give you a quick example how what happened with this financial obligation. I sat back and I said, hey, I've got some ideas. I think they're good ideas. I don't know anymore. Life, I'm going to allow you, life, to show me how you want me to take care of this financial obligation. And what wound up happening in that waiting, in that standing back, I felt a lot of anxiety. Everything in me wanted to solve that problem, but I sat back and I didn't do anything. And I just sat with the anxiety I was feeling. I sat with the fear of, oh no, if I don't pay this financial obligation, then what? And my daughter, my beautiful little 10-year-old daughter, Stevie, she saw me struggling. She's like, Daddy, what's wrong? There's something going on. You're not yourself. And she saw some tears well up in my eyes because I was dealing with a lot of stress in that moment about this financial obligation I had to pay. And she says, Daddy, you're crying. And I said, yes, sweetie, I'm crying. I'm feeling a lot of stress right now, and I'm sad right now, but I'm not going to hide that from you. I made a decision a long time ago that I'm going to allow you and your brother to see me. I'm not going to perform, I'm not going to hide, I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to allow you to see who I am and all of me. And That conversation then allowed my daughter for her eyes to well up with tears. And then she went on about a 30-minute diatribe about all these pressures she's feeling inside that she's been holding for a year that she hasn't said. And she started crying. And she allowed me to see her. And we were in bed together, on our sides, looking at each other in each other's eyes, 10 years old and me 47, and we connected. And I learned more about my daughter in those 30 or 40 minutes than I did her whole life. We found a whole new level of intimacy between my daughter and I. She saw within me, I saw within her. And the next morning I remember waking up and I felt so close and so connected. And here's the amazing thing. That conversation, that connection, that intimacy that I had with my beautiful 10-year-old would have never happened if I would have jumped into that financial obligation, that financial problem, and tried to figure it out right away. By me allowing myself to sit with my feelings about it, and allowing whatever sadness and fear to kind of go through me, and my daughter witnessing that conversation with her was born out of that. So when I say that whatever solutions life provides for you will be a hell of a lot better than what you can figure out on your own, it's exactly that. Yes, I was able to find a solution to pay that bill. Yes, that solution to pay that bill actually wound up being a hell of a lot better solution than I could have figured out on my own. I actually wound up paying a quarter of the price because life showed me a way to go pay that bill in person, and that person who was taking care of me at the office says, hey, you don't need to pay this full amount, you could pay this amount. And I guess the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, was this connection I had with my daughter. And that was priceless. And all that came about because I took my foot off the gas, I put my foot on the brake, and I said, hey, life, show me.